Hello everyone! Welcome back to my ant tribe diary. Today, I'm dealing with something very special. I have to move my Golden Turkish Archback ants to a new home. Early this morning, I suddenly noticed the ants going into a frenzy. It turns out their nest was extremely humid, and there was even a fermented smell in the air. I realized that something was wrong with their home. So, I quickly prepared a new nest and got ready for the move. In today's video, we'll see the full process of relocating these ants. Because I discovered the problem a bit too late, I decided to skip the initial process and directly move the ants by placing the old nest upside down at the entrance of the new one. Hopefully, this will speed up their transition. What will happen next? Will the new nest bring them new hope, or will they struggle to adapt? Let's dive in and find out. The events leading up to today's move happened unexpectedly. For the first few hours, I didn't notice anything wrong with the nest. But when I saw the Golden Turkish Archback ants in chaos, I realized something was off. The whole nest smelled like fermentation, and I could see that the humidity was high. For ants, a humid environment can be disastrous, and this one was clearly unsuitable. The situation worsened because the wet conditions affected their daily activities, making it harder for the ants to live. To avoid further complications, I decided to relocate them to a new home as quickly as possible. I prepared a new nest early in the morning and decided to move the ants into it. Due to the high humidity, I decided to place the old nest upside down at the entrance of the new one. This would help speed up their transition and get them to adapt more quickly. As soon as the new nest was placed, several worker ants immediately entered the new home to inspect it. Since the nest was upside down, some of the eggs fell into the new nest. The worker ants began exploring the new space to check if it was suitable for them. The queen stood on top of the old nest, waiting for the worker ants to report back. As the queen waited on top of the old nest, the worker ants immediately started their work, carrying the eggs into the new nest. Every worker ant seemed to know exactly what it was supposed to do. The transition was not fast, but it was orderly. You could see that each worker ant had its task. Some were exploring the nest, while others were carefully carrying eggs to the new home. One particular worker ant stood out. It seemed to have verified that the new nest was safe, so it stationed itself at the entrance, waiting for the queen to enter. It acted like a guardian, ensuring that the queen would be safe in the new environment. However, despite the worker ants being busy with their tasks, the queen remained reluctant to enter the new nest. At this point, I decided to intervene. I gently moved the old nest and immediately, the queen entered the new home. As soon as she entered, I felt relieved because, at that point, the worker ants could fully begin their task. The queen's entrance into the new nest was a pivotal moment. The new nest's dry conditions were much more suited to the Golden Turkish Archback ants, and I felt confident that this was the ideal environment for them. Once the queen entered, the worker ants got to work. The queen decided to settle in the second layer of the nest, while the other worker ants carried the eggs into the third layer. From the number of worker ants around the eggs, it was clear that they were very protective of them. They moved with great care, almost like mothers protecting their children. Meanwhile, a few worker ants remained outside the nest. They seemed hesitant to return, possibly because the new environment made them feel insecure, or maybe they were exploring for more food sources. These worker ants were not yet returning to the new nest but were instead measuring their new surroundings, checking if the area was safe and if there were other resources they could gather. This move for the Golden Turkish Archback ants was somewhat forced. If it weren't for the fermentation issue in their old home, I would have preferred them to continue growing and reproducing in that nest. It was, after all, a very suitable environment for them. The number of eggs in the nest clearly showed that they were thriving in it. Today's relocation reminded me of the survival instincts of ants. It's striking how much they resemble us. Just like people, when their home becomes uninhabitable, they must find a new place to live. And just like any parent, the first priority is to ensure the safety and survival of their young. That's all for today's Ant Tribe update. Watching the Golden Turkish Archback ants during their move really showed me how similar ants are to us. When their home is no longer safe, they must find a new place, and the most important thing is to protect their young. If you love observing the world of ants as much as I do, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what you think about this moving process or if you have any tips for ant keeping. See you in the next video.